Welcome to Echo Ekoji, the podcast of Ekoji Buddhist Temple in Fairfax Station, Virginia, where we explore the lives, voices, and stories shaping Jodo Shinshu Buddhism in America.
Today's guest is Dr. Kemi Nakabayashi, a longtime member of the Seattle Betsuin and Palo Alto Buddhist Temple, and a dynamic leader in the world of Buddhist music. Her work bridges tradition and creativity, bringing fresh life to how we experience and share the Dharma through sound.
Kemi is an accomplished pianist, physician, and chair of the Buddhist Churches of America Music Committee. Her more than 5-year-long project, Sing Namo Amida Butsu, has brought together nearly 90 gathas and musical service pieces used by temples across the U.S., including Hawaii and Ekoji.
In this episode, we'll explore Kemi's spiritual journey, her support for emerging musicians, and the future of Buddhist music in a rapidly changing world. We'll also ask, what does it mean to sing the Dharma in the 21st century? Kemi, many of us know you as a musician and Buddhist leader in Seattle. Let's start at the beginning. What are your earliest memories of growing up at Palo Alto Buddhist Temple?
Well, thank you, Joe and Andrea, for inviting me to Echo Ekoji. My earliest memories of growing up at the Palo Alto Temple is probably Dharma school class and Bonodori. My grandmother came to Bonodori practice and danced with my cousin and me.
Your mother played a lasting role in your life and in the creation of Sing Namo Amida Butsu. How did she shape your journey as both a musician and a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist?
My mother, Marian Kaneko Dumont, was a single working parent while I grew up in a multi-generational household. I went to public kindergarten, but my mother arranged for me to attend a private school, Nueva Day School, which opened in time for my first grade. The school established a music program supported by violinist Yehudi Menuhin, and I was fortunate to be chosen to have piano lessons on scholarship there. Singing was a regular part of the curriculum, and though I went to public school from 7th grade through high school, music remained a part of my school extracurricular activities. I also started playing service music at Palo Alto Buddhist Temple at least from age 11 when I played my grandmother's funeral service. My family's connection to Palo Alto Buddhist Temple was important. To return to temple during summers for Bonodori while in college, and connecting to temples in Cleveland and Seattle. But I didn't get back to regular temple attendance until after residency in the 1990s. Linda Castro was the choir director in Seattle by then, and I became the choir pianist. Before my mother passed in 2017, she established the Kaneko Music Fund at Seattle Betsuin to honor my grandparents. We used this money to publish the first printing of the Sing Namo Amida Butsu Gatha book.
I might mention that the late Linda Castro is Reverend Emeritus Don Castro's wife, and Reverend Don is still very active in the Seattle Temple. Kemi, this is going to be a little nuanced perhaps, but when did music first become a part of your spiritual life, not just as a performer, but as practice, your spiritual practice?
So as I described, really, when I came to Seattle and had more time and opportunities to hear and learn about the Dharma.
Kemi, what do you see as the role of music in Jodo Shinshu, and how does it help people connect more deeply with the teachings?
In general, music is a universal language, though the different genres of music may resonate more with one person over another. The lyrics with Gatha music can help people connect with the Dharma, and in particular in one's native language. So English Gatha lyrics or translations, similar to knowing the meaning of sutra chanting, I think help to appreciate the Dharma.
In your view, what gives a Gatha its distinctively Jodo Shinshu character? Is it the melody, the message, the mood, or something else entirely?
Especially lately with our new Buddhist music here on the mainland, as well as from Hawaii and Japan. We have so many styles of music, so I would have to say the message through the lyrics.
Can you think of a particular Gatha that might help illustrate that point?
I would say Seiya, actually. You know, I've known the Gatha lyrics by Lady Takeko Kujo since as long as I can remember when I was a child. But I didn't really realize that one of the verses was about the Ganges River until I read the English translation that was facilitated with the Gatha Book Project. Reverend Nakagaki with Demis Yamashita translated both verses into English for our Sing Namo Amida Butsu publication.
Excellent. Thank you.
Kemi, do you have a favorite Gatha, one that moves you every time you hear or play it?
Well, I've been asking that question of others for some years now to get a sense of what people like. And besides, say, a classic answer is Ondok-san. But if you asked youth in the Northwest District, I think it would be Donna Sasaki's We Are One, or perhaps now Light of Wisdom from the recent work by the Seattle High School Dharma School class with Donna. Many people across BCA and in Hawaii like Donna's Golden Chain and Linda Castro's A Special Place. But my current favorite is with Gasho from the Heart, the BCA FBWA music project for the World Buddhist Women's Conference in Kyoto in 2023. Like Seiya, we were inspired by a poem by Lady Takeko Kujo, but we also incorporated Japanese and Portuguese lyrics for the world audience.
Much to my mother's chagrin, I don't play an instrument, nor do I sing. But on Doka-san 2, I can sing that last couple of lines, and it's just so wonderful. The sound, it just takes me somewhere else. What inspired you to create Sing Namo Amida Butsu? And what sustained you through such a long and demanding project? And I'll hold up the book and the piano book also.
So the original goal of the Gatha Book Project was to republish the Gathas of Linda Castro, originally published in 1990 as 6 songs for Buddhist children. Mm. And all of the Gathas Donna Sasaki had written at that point, since the Tacoma Buddhist Temple publications were out of print. However, we expanded the content as we worked on the project, particularly through permission from Hawaii Music Committee to publish the English lyric translations of Japanese gathas, and then getting permission from the music department of Honzan, our mother temple in Kyoto, to be able to include any of the music that they had previously published. Thus, we were able to include 2 music service sutras, Jisege and Sanbutsuge, highly desirable in Seattle to include in the book since we had learned them and used them in our music services. The help of others working on the project included Donna Sasaki and Michiko Yukawa from Tacoma Buddhist Temple, Hawaii Music Committee Chairperson Francis Okano, and the team at Seattle Betsuin, including Reverend Kusunoki's help with discussions of copyright with contacts in Japan, and Yoko Yanari preparing the documents for print publication. So this collaborative effort helped to sustain me in the process and the completion of the work.
Indeed, a massive undertaking for your whole team. And not only did you create a general edition for the Sangha, but then you created a separate musician's version. Why was that distinction important?
Oh, simply to be able to include more gathas in the songbook. If we took the staffs of the piano accompaniment out, then the songbook size, I think, was a more practical size for Sangha use. And then to have the piano and some other instrumental parts of a few of the gathas in the accompanist book.
If we set aside Donna Sasaki and Linda Castro's gathas, how did you decide which gathas to include, and were there any surprises along the way?
Yes, besides the gathas of Linda and Donna, we reviewed the gathas chosen by the previous BCA ad hoc music committee, which published the Shin Buddhist Service Book in 1994, and other music from Hawaii composers. I reached out to composers for permission unless the gatha was published by Honganji. And then input for the Japanese gathas to include was based on advice from our Seattle Betsuin Japanese language members, and also if Hawaii had English translations that we could include. A surprise, or at least a revelation to me, was that a number of composers whose gathas were published by BCA in 1994, when they were, Jane Imamura was trying to create new gathas for that book. Jane had passed out lyrics to different people to write the gathas, including to her nephew, Shinji Eshima, for In a Quiet Valley, as well as her daughters, Hiro and Rei Imamura, of course, and also D.I. Lewis and Larry London, whom I contacted for Light Blossoms and The Middle Path. But the composers otherwise often had no connection to the lyricist when I asked them. And so I didn't really have a way to contact some of those lyricists for the permissions. But an exception is Higan, composed by Hiro Imamura, to lyrics written by the late Reverend Seigen Yamaoka. Jane Imamura apparently had asked Reverend Yamaoka to write those lyrics when she knew him in Berkeley before he departed to Japan to further his training. And then Hiro told me that she was a teenager at the time that she composed Higan.
As chair of the BCA Music Committee, what recent milestones or accomplishments are you especially proud of, and what are your hopes for the future?
Well, Andrea, Joe is actually involved through the wide net that I cast in 2020 when Reverend Harada asked me with the Northwest District to organize the BCA Music Committee. We held 2 meetings of people representing all 8 districts. Joe contributed suggestions during the process of preparing the BCA Music Committee's charter and identifying and naming the 12 subcommittees. All of our meetings are virtual, of course, and the first year anniversary, we had a virtual meeting inviting all organizers and music committee members who could attend, as well as guests, such as our contacts from Hawaii Music Committee, who helped advise me from their experience. I don't know if you know, but the Hawaii Music Committee has been organized and functioning for many decades under Francis Okano's leadership. So the BCA 125th anniversary year in 2024, I think, was another recent milestone, full of proud accomplishments, including the premieres of the first Gatha Lyric Contest and Composer Commissions and the second Bonadori Song and Dance Commission of Bombu Stories, the first having been Nobuko Miyamoto's Kangie. And the hope for the future of BCA Music Committee, I would say, is to continue to follow our charter goals of collaborating with other world districts, kyodans, especially Hawaii and Canada, and developing projects that engage Sangha of all age groups, but particularly youth involvement. So we're holding another Youth Gatha Lyric Contest during the 2025-2026 Dharma School year, supported again by the Federation of Dharma School Teachers League, and also offering music committee resources for Dharma School and scouting projects. We have more ideas, actually, than people power to implement. So we hope the youth will be engaged and help us. But in the near future, we hope many will join the Bonadori Taiko webinar we are recently announcing on Wednesday evening, July 23rd. It's called Songs and Dances of Resilience, Gratitude, Joy, and Hope. And PJ Hirabayashi, Nobuko Miyamoto, and Tiffany Tamari Bucci will be presenting their dances Eija Naika, 120,000 Stories, and Joy Bubble. The registration link for the announcement is on the BCA Music webpage.
You've supported younger artists like those behind Lantern Song. Why is it so important to nurture the next generation of Buddhist musicians?
Well, through BCA Music Committee, we've been able to offer unique experiences to younger musicians. Although Bombu Stories organized their own studio recording for Lantern Song, we've given youth the opportunity to work with composers and record in recording studios. Hopefully these experiences will plant the seeds for them to grow as individuals, but also appreciate the Dharma and BCA temple and committee work. The appeal of Lantern Song, based on feedback at temples and the number of YouTube channel views, I think is a great testament to reaching out to a wider audience through the voice of the younger generation. And the BCA Dharma Forward funding has enabled Bamboo Stories to travel to present workshops farther than they could have done on their own, to Arizona last year and to Ekoji soon to perform Lantern Song live. A win-win, hopefully, for the creative artists and the host temples.
Quick follow-up on that. For people who are watching this who may not recognize the word bamboo, what is it and why was it selected for this project?
Oh, that's the name that that group came up with for themselves. But you can tell them what bamboo means, Joe.
Bamboo is sort of a foolish being, just being ourselves, living life as a layperson. Okay.
And we are really looking forward to their visit. So if this is published before then, everyone's invited. Friday, July 11th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. at the temple. So looking ahead, how do you see music evolving in the BCA, and what are the next big goals or challenges?
Well, one challenge remains the same, to support BCA temples without service musicians with music. Ekoji had quite a few musicians, and I understand that now you have fewer, and there are other temples that have contacted me in other districts as well. And we have collected recordings, some done before the pandemic, but other collaborative recordings done during the pandemic out of necessity for producing virtual services. We're still awaiting determination of an appropriate platform for the desired online Buddhist music library, seeking assistance from the BCA Technical Outreach Support Committee, because we would really like to have an easier way to share recordings. In the meantime, adding to the BCA Music YouTube channel and offering audio recordings on the BCA Music webpage have been the primary resources. There's a tremendous amount of music talent across BCA, and identifying the talent and engaging participation for BCA-wide projects to continue our work, and especially to implement big new projects. Those are our ongoing goals.
Do you think music created in the United States and Hawaii might one day influence Jodo Shinshu communities in Japan? Are we sort of entering a time of greater global music exchange?
Well, I think our FBWA music project has demonstrated that we have, and we can continue, because those World Buddhist Women's Conferences convene the people from Japan, South America, as well as Canada, Hawaii, and BCA.
Thank you.
You balance many roles, Kemi: physician, musician, temple leader, national chair. How do you find harmony in those roles, and how have they deepened your spiritual life?
Well, I'm grateful that my husband, Jim Norton, who's the real musician in the family, has encouraged me to participate in various roles. My responsibilities had been greater in the physician role previously, and more in the musician and BCA Music Committee chair role the past 5 years. The common theme has been making new connections with others through these activities, so interdependence.
Kemi, we traditionally close our interviews by asking, what does Ekoji mean to you? Although your home temples are in Seattle and Palo Alto, you've supported and joined Ekoji via Zoom for some Sunday services, and your Gatha book is used at Ekoji. How would you answer that question? What does Ekoji mean to you?
Well, I feel a connection to Ekoji, fortunately, through the ability to join the online services. And during the pandemic, when Seattle Betsuin started out presenting pre-recorded services on our temple YouTube channel, I had the opportunity to view Dharma messages elsewhere, and I also was interested to see how music was presented online. So I still try on occasion to catch other temple services or watch archived services. I appreciate the way Ekoji presents services in a welcoming way to everyone, And I'm interested and delighted when resources from the Gatha book or BCA Music Committee work is used to enhance the Ekoji services.
Kemi, thank you for sharing your story, your passion, and your vision for the future of Buddhist music. Your work is a true gift to sanghas across the country and to those of us listening with open hearts.
Thank you, Andrea and Joe.
Kemi, Sing Namo Amida Butsu lets us experience the Dharma in fresh and powerful ways, and your dedication reminds us that the Nembutsu can be expressed not only in words, but in melody, harmony, and connection.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us for another episode of Echo Ekoji. We hope today's conversation inspires you to reflect on the role of music in your own spiritual journey.
And if you'd like to learn more about BCA Music Committee's work, visit BuddhistChurchesOfAmerica.org or search for Buddhist Churches of America Music on YouTube. And as always, from our ever-expanding Sangha to yours,
keep listening, keep learning, and keep the Dharma close. Namo Amida.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Amida Butsu.